Hello, welcome. Delighted that you're here. Each week you'll meet a lady who will be sharing her story with you, and the intention is that you will be entertained, motivated, and inspired to share yours. It's time for women to rise and stand in heart-centered leadership. Join with us and stay tuned. We don't disappoint. Cheers. Well, there we go. Whew, it took much too long. Well, hello and good evening and welcome. Welcome to Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. It's Wednesday night, and I bet you want to know more about our guest tonight. I am Joy Ruffin, your style and leadership coach, signature style specialist, and professional speaker. Every week, I bring to you a leading lady who's going to share with you her internal, external, her journey. Aren't we all on a journey? And it never ends. But each and every time we master something, we perfect a skill as much as we can, then it's our duty and responsibility to turn around and share that with someone else. And that's what our guest tonight, Melinda Broadstone, is going to do with us. She's going to be talking about what is so timely now: femininity, sexuality, sensuality, and what that means to the woman, the lady today. So I could go on and on and on. You know me by now. But before I do that, I want to go on and on with Melinda. So let me bring Melinda up and say welcome and thank you for being here, Melinda. It's so good to have you here today.
Thank you, Joy. It's such a delight to be on your program. Thank you for inviting me.
Listen, it is my honor to share this space and time with you because I say this, I admire the work that you're doing. I know a lot about your background because you sent me the bio and I do my own trolling and research. But I'd like for you, I love your title, Stop Waiting to Be Powerful, Feminine, and Successful. Let's start now. You're speaking my language. So tell us, how did you come to this? What brought you to this work that you're doing? I know, but I want you to share it with the audience.
The most important part of it, it's a very long story. It's a very long journey I've been on.
Yes.
And I started off in occupational therapy and ended up working one-on-one with people and then with entrepreneurs and such. But the biggest thing I would say is, as a young girl, I had issues with attracting all of the wrong kind of attention. And that attention looked like a lot of flashers. I'm not kidding you. I had experienced probably 13 different flashers from the time I was maybe 17, 16, up till actually all the way till I was 30. And I had no clue. It was nothing about the way I was dressed. I dressed very conservatively. I was minding my own business. And it happened in the parking lot, at college, in the bathroom. It happened in the park. It happened everywhere.
Melinda, may I interrupt you for just a moment? Because we are kindred souls and you're speaking my language in a different way. But I know that you're speaking to something that's really major for many of us, because you mentioned several things there that are vital. You said it's not about how you're dressed. It wasn't about that. But you also speak a lot in your bio to me in my reading of what you are going to share with us tonight, a lot about presence and confidence, because I think these flashers and these people, the they people, I call them, they tend to connect and relate to people where that confidence and that sense of presence isn't strong enough and they know they can weasel their way in. How would you speak to that? Yes.
Exactly. And of course, as a young person, it was a total blind spot to me. But as I went on my journey and I accidentally came across certain things and started studying certain practices, what I came to know is this: that I had to get in my body. I was not in my body. And if you're not present, and generally people think of presence in terms of, you show up on stage, or you show up here, or you show up there. But literally the energetic presence is what sends the signal, don't mess with me.
Yes.
And I have I have what it takes to take care of myself.
Which is aligned with a strong sense of confidence and knowing who you are. And that's why so many young girls and boys, we're speaking predominantly here to women, that's why so many are set off on the wrong track, because that hasn't been evolving in them yet to where it is a sense of strength and power. So I think that's very, very powerful. And knowing this, at some point, when did you segue away to discovering what that was all about and how you could tell and make yourself a stronger being in the knowing of that?
Yeah. So what happened was I was now a professional, right? I was an occupational therapist, and I was really well trained. And I would go to these conferences and I would like freak out being in the presence of this big crowd of people.
Uh-huh.
And so every break, it was like I was like almost running around the building trying to burn off the anxiety so that I could literally sit in the next session. So I started looking into how can I shift my energy around that, not realizing that that was the same thing that was causing me to attract the wrong kind of people.
What was that was attracting the wrong kind of people? What was that? How could you describe that to those who might still be, maybe have kids or themselves still going through this? What gave you the awareness to decide or decipher what that was?
Well, I came to understand that it's energy boundaries. So it's the energy in the pelvic region, which is also the same energy and space from which the feminine essence expresses itself. The sensuality expresses itself. And it's not about looking sexy or coming across sexy. It's about that confidence, just like you were talking about, of being really rooted in that part of your body.
Okay. I'm loving this. I'm loving this for numerous reasons, Melinda. Let me tell you why. Today, and I'm not judgmental or opinionated in a negative way, but yet our sense of femininity for women and sexuality and how to be sensuous and all of that, somehow we've gone over to the dark side because it's not about the body parts. What you just said speaks to that. But tell us in your verbiage, what is the true source of power for women? We know that we are sexual and we have breasts. I call it the two B's, boom, 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 which are very popular now. But what is that true sense of power for a woman today? Where does that emanate from? And where do we begin to get to that? Some of us get it early, some of us get it late. But what is the source of true power? Because that's what women are looking for. That's why so many, when you're young, I was in that grouping, you want to control men because you're cute, you're pretty, you got a little body. But that's not it. So what is it? Talk to us about that. Tell us.
Yes, we can be fooled into thinking that we can use the sexual part of our energy to control, especially men. But that's only very short-lived.
Exactly.
What really attracts the right kind of person to you, the person that you're going to have an enduring relationship with, and opportunities, because people of the same sex are going to be interested in you too, but because of what you have to say, because of what you're selling, because of your ideas, and it has nothing to do with sexuality, but that attraction is about learning how to work with the receptive centers of the body, the primary one having to do with the pelvic area. So if people are used to the lingo, that's maybe in some of the yoga classes, and they're talking about chakras, we're talking about the second chakra, the Dantian and Qigong, the Hara. It's that, and then spreading it into the hips so that you're really home. It's about being home in your body. It's the sexiest thing, but not in a
not in the way we've been led to believe, not in the way the majority of us, Melinda, have been taught. Because unfortunately, still today, and I see it because I volunteer with these young juvenile delinquent girls, that they really feel and they think, and it's not just because they're from a low-income strata, most of them, not all, but most, that they feel that the body, and yet the body is powerful, but it's not being used in the right way. How do we get that? I heard what you said about the second chakra and all of that, but what else can we do to get to the essence of the sense of knowing our own power?
Yes. So I'll tell you what, the whole deal is that if we're putting our energy out all the time and we're not spending time with ourselves and going inward, we're missing out on that very important piece because it gets depleted. It gets depleted by helping others. It gets depleted by being too busy. It gets depleted by anxiety. It gets depleted by many things. And if we don't go in and renew and then land the energy down in the lower part of the body, because I'll tell you, probably 100% of the population doesn't have that much energy in their legs and in their pelvis. Why? They're sitting a lot.
Yeah.
And we're very anxious.
Yes, 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 yes. Indeed. Makes a big, 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 big difference. How do you, and the people that you work with, how do you begin to get them to understand the dynamics of what you're hoping to impart to them that will give them the confidence and power and the success that they're seeking? Where do you begin?
It's all experiential. I take them through the process of getting to know the landscape inside and how to rest in the receptive centers, how to rest back behind your intuitive eye instead of tracking everybody and draw the intuition towards you. Teach you how to rest in the heart center so that you can actually activate the compassion and the love.
Now, you just said something that's very meaningful and impactful for me right now because of a coach that I'm working with. And I always knew this, but sometimes you have to have things kind of slapped in the face and then you kind of wake up and you really come wide awake. The heart. Most of us here on this continent, this planet, unfortunately, the majority, and this is not a negative, but it's just a knowing, we are ruled by here, the mental, the mind.
Yes.
But yet, until we really get into that heart center, and began to work with it and combine the two, the gut, heart, soul essence of us, you can't get to that body knowing and awareness. So what do we do? How do we go there?
How do we go there? Would you like me to lead you through a little piece?
No, well, yeah, you can do that too. But I'm thinking, how can you verbalize to someone who's on the outside who wants to get there, but isn't sure about how to open up the heart center and get to the knowing of what the power of the body is all about?
Yes. So your energy goes wherever your attention goes.
There you go.
So if your attention is always going out, out, out,
yes,
then we pull the energy out of these centers and they start raising up until you don't have any legs, you don't have any pelvis, and the heart's shut down. And we're all way up here. So you have to take your attention inward. You have to take your attention behind your eyes. You have to rest your attention in back, between the lungs, way back by the spine. You have to take your attention into the pelvis, way back to the sacrum. And pretty soon everything lines up and it starts moving, and you'd be amazed at just doing a few minutes of that can do for you. It's just amazing.
I know it's amazing. I can sense and feel that it's amazing. And I've gone through this somewhat in a preliminary beginner kind of stage. The people who come to you, the majority of them, I'm sure they all have, this is the universe, different reasons. But the bottom line would be what? They come to you because they want to be more present. They want to be more open. They're seeking more success. How do you categorize the different reasons that people come to you so that they can open up and blossom to their mission and their purpose?
Yes. So many of the people that I work with, they've had a dream for a really long time of something that they wanted to contribute to the world.
Yes.
And they are scared to do it. And they're scared to do it because they don't have the confidence, because they're not really centered in their body and they can't find their voice. And when they talk, people talk over them. And when they go to board meetings, they're ignored. And so all of these things, they know something's not right and they don't know what to do about it.
I like the way you express that, because one of the things that you said to me, and it really resonated because I got it. So many people are wanting to break out of that frozen state where they're not able to initiate and to get involved and to be impactful in whatever group or circle they're in. And so, and yet they want to be seen and they want to be heard. So you do the beginning stages of what to get them there. I know it's different for each and every one, but and you've mentioned some of the things that you do, but yet I know from my limited knowing that there's so many people who want the success and this, that, and the other, and yet they don't know how to initiate and move to get there. So how do you stabilize and get them to go inside and really understand the essence of the body and how powerful the body is and how you have to connect with it to move to where you want to go?
Yes. So sometimes the very first thing we're doing is dealing with the mind. Because I also work with a lot of professionals and veteran entrepreneurs that are wanting to up level and they're struggling.
Yes.
So, you know, so much of it originates in the mind. So that's usually the thing that people think they have the most understanding about themselves. That's not necessarily true, but they have an understanding, but it's not the whole picture that they need.
Right.
So I really teach how there's really 4 parts to the mind and how they all work together and how the subconscious is impacting you. And so much of what you were talking about earlier, Joy, there's many children, adolescents, adults, 75% of the population has gone through some kind of trauma. So that also creates this lack of confidence. It creates this lack of presence in the body. So I help them with, like, what do you do when the mind goes off on you and starts criticizing you, making you doubt, making you feel like a fraud, making you feel like you can't do something, or just making you like go into full resistance. You don't know what it is you're resisting, but you're just not going to do anything.
Yes. You know, when you started off, you mentioned how at an early stage, I keep doing this wrong thing, that you had these flashes and all, and how that came about. And somewhere in your work, from when you began to now, somehow in my reading here, it came to you that your mission, part of your mission, was to really work with women to arm them with a stronger sense of presence. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's become part of your mission. It's part of mine in a different way. So I understood what you said in the beginning and how you came to that, but speak to that a little bit more, because I think that many women today, I feel it, I see it because I'm very empathic, are so misled and misconstrued in their thinking about what the true essence of femininity is all about. So I would love it if you could speak a wee bit more to that. What femininity, the true essence of it, is within the body and how it emanates out. And it doesn't, even though for me, it's all about image and how you show up, not in the true sense of how most people think of it. Because if that's not emanating from within, then it's not going to be impactful. So speak to that as much as you can. The true essence of femininity as it is exude and it comes through the body out into the universe here.
Yes. You know, you can put on all the frilly clothes that you want, all the ruffles, all the frills, all the extra jewelry, and you can still come across as not being in your feminine.
Right.
Because the feminine essence is, you know, the way our bodies are constructed, it emanates an energy different than men.
Yes.
If nothing else, just because of the geometry of our bodies.
Right. Right.
So when we're in our bodies and we rest in our bodies and we're home, we feel comfortable, we feel safe in our bodies, that power automatically emanates. Now, if you happen to be a woman that doesn't have a primary essence as feminine, you know, because there's lots of versions of sexuality.
Yes,
and
exactly.
So you'll still have that there. but the way you dress yourself up and the way you interact with your partner might be more masculine, but you'll still have a certain amount of feminine essence coming from you because that's the nature of our body. And that power is really in gathering, first of all, residing in the space, gathering the energy, healing that space so that you can actually really fill it up and contain it. So when we let that energy like leak out all over, people think you're flaky, ungrounded, wacky, all kinds of things. And you're not believable. Yes. Anybody that's leaking energy, wherever it is from their system, they're not believable. You lose your believability.
Well, let's speak to that believability, because here comes another point. And this is not judgmental. This is not negative criticism for those women who are in this realm, because for me, there's a scale of 1 to 10, and then there are pigeons and there are eagles. And I talk a lot about this as I speak about, because no one is better than anybody. And if you don't get that qualification there, then something is really amiss. But why do some women, I know the answer, and I think I know you do, but explain it and express it out there to the audience for those maybe who haven't thought about it enough. Why is it so major for so many women to express their femininity, sexuality through showing and exhibiting their bodies in a way that's not, and I'm not a prude, I'm not prudish, and I'm not pretty and proper, yet why is that? Why can you speak to that? What can you say about that before we go to a quick break?
I think so much of it, I'm going to blame it a lot on the media because there has been there was tons of research that went into advertising, how they saw that the next group of people with the pocket of money wasn't directly from the kids' pocket, but through the parents. But they knew that if they could influence the tweens, they could get the parents to buy into it. And all of it was about sexuality. It was all about sexuality. And if you look at the progression of like MTV and those kind of things, it was all about sexuality. And that's all driven by
Melinda,
by male dominant companies that are into making money and power. And I might be getting in trouble for saying this.
No, get in trouble. I'm with you all the way. You could not have answered that better, because I don't mind standing alone. I can stand alone. At this stage in age, nothing is frightening to me, because that male dominant, and not all males, God knows. I mean, some of them are
no, absolutely not
brilliant, but unfortunately, it's still controlled by a male-dominated society that is bound on sexuality and women and blah blah. So that's all I wanted to hear you say, and I want people out there to get that, because it's not the true essence of who we are. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to put you in the green room. Don't go anywhere, and I'll be back with you in just a second. You couldn't have ended for me better. Hold tight. I just love it. If I can get myself solo, my cursor here has its own personality. There we go. Woo, it's so slow. Listen, every time we come to you on Wednesday nights with a leading lady, we come to express, to exchange, and to share with you different nuggets that will stimulate and titillate your imagination so you can get into your own zone, so to speak. And it's all to open up maybe avenues that you haven't thought about. And what I want to leave you with is this. I'm extending to you an open invitation every week to join me in Leading Ladies Leaving Legacies, my Facebook group, because there we're going to begin here very soon with a lot of good things that I'll be coming to you every so often, sharing tips and tools and nuggets with you. I'm having a mastermind that's coming up on January the 19th, and soon next week, I think I'll have a VIP wait list. I want you to get on it, because I want to talk about shopping online. What are we now? We're all confined. We're locked down. We're sequestered. So it's time for those maybe who've not done it before to look into shopping online, but you got to be very, very mindful. So I want to give you some good tips and some good nuggets that will help you to be the manager of you while you're shopping online. And I'm also going to leave you with a little tip about your signature style and what that is to you before I leave you tonight. But I really want you to be thinking about sexuality, femininity, and sensuality tonight, because that's what we're talking about with Melinda. And Melinda, I'm going to tell you once again, I don't know what it is with my cursor. I think I probably need a battery, but I want to say that you couldn't have ended on a better note, because that's what it's all about. And don't hate to say it's male dominated, because it is. That doesn't mean that all males are bad, like all females aren't bad. So we have the right to say that. Tell us, I know that you've worked all around the country, global, so to speak, with different cultures. And what have you found is a pivotal kind of central point that connects all of them together in one way or another when it comes to femininity, sexuality, sensuality, which is always a good subject?
It's the balance of masculine and feminine that brings harmony and strength and beauty to our culture, to our lives, and to our relationships.
Listen, are we twins? You are speaking.
I think so.
You're speaking my language, because you mentioned that balance between the male and the female energies, because we have them within us, right? And finding that balance. I was never a component of the women's lib movement back in the day as much as some women were, for this reason, because I knew, and I'm not even asking you, that we were not here to be equal to men and the business world. We were here to be our strong, powerful, heart-centered selves in the business world. And that's where we went a little bit astray in that direction. So what do you think will be some of the things that you can leave us with, that we can be thinking about as we move into this 2021, that will give us some insights and nuggets to help us on our journeys as we move forward and onward? What would you say would be some things that we should be thinking about, some things that we should be implementing in our lives, some things that we should be sharing with others, whatever it is? Just give us some nuggets that we can walk away with.
You know, when we step into a space where we're not being honored as women,
yes,
we have to remember that it's not about us.
Ooh.
We have to remember that that is the projection from the other person. And if we buy into it, we drop down in status. And it's not to fight like a man. It's to rest in your feminine power.
Yes.
And to, use the juiciness that you have as a woman, have the sensuality that you have as a woman, use the kindness as you have as a woman. And, I think I got a beautiful Christmas present, and it was a little Ruth Bader Ginsburg puppet doll. This big. I wish I would have brought it.
Oh, yeah.
And in some ways, she really epitomizes that, because she was able to, she had so much command over her mental faculties, as well as, she was exercising till the day she died.
I know.
And she was so powerful in her ability to persuade people and to make sense of things that other people couldn't understand, so that legislation did pass. And I think she's in a lot of ways, she's a really good role model for all of us, that we need to use our wit, but not in a cutting, mean way. We have to be strategic. We have to think things through, and it has to come from our hearts. It has to be driven from the kindness and the collective, instead of so pointed like men do.
Yes, absolutely. The word that I'm using often, Melinda, because I know that it fits, is that we have to get more into our heart-centered leadership. We can still be strong, we can still be powerful, but the heart is the ruler. And when it's connected to the brain, as it was with Ruth, I'm talking like I really knew her, that's where we go. So I like that ending there. Now let's end on this note, because as women, our femininity and our sexuality, sensuality, and all of that, it is naturally a given and powerful. And how we show up does matter, no matter how you dice and slice it. So when it comes to signature style, your style and how you show up and what's important to you. There are different categories. Where would you place yourself? Are you in the casual, sporty mode? Are you in the romantic mode? Are you in the classic? Are you chic? Or are you a little bit dramatic? Which one would you classify as your main sense of style?
I would say when I can find the clothes, it's more classic styling.
Yes.
I do, when I'm not working, I do enjoy very much casual and casual sporty. But I definitely know that I need to show up as a person that can be looked at as being together. And one of the ways that people judge whether or not you're together is how you look. And so I know that it's in my best interest to pull myself together in a way that shows that.
I love the way you express that because it is important. Even today, casual mode has taken over, but still classic is number one. But I want you to speak to, before we say so long, and we have a brief second here. You mentioned something that I want to get more out into the industry, the fashion industry. You said when you can find. So you don't find it easy to shop for you. And as briefly as you can, tell us why.
Well, the fabrics have gone away from the natural fibers, and
That's
the
true.
natural fibers is actually what supports our energy. So, I love cotton, I love wool, I love silk, and now everything's plastic. And
Ah.
it's plastic because it's cheaper.
Yes. Listen, you are leaving us with so many nuggets and so much good stuff to think about. And I wanted you to say that because my background is fashion and I love it, but somehow it's gone over to the dark side. So I wanted you to say that because that needs to be said over and over and over. That, and I've never heard it expressed the way you did. I love that. I'll remember that. Fabrics and they're breathable. They take in our energy. So it's good that we go with the natural fibers. I always kind of knew that, but I wasn't able to verbalize it that way. So thank you for that. Melinda, I have put up your website, your email, and your name. Now, I think you said you had something you'd like to offer them. Just very briefly, tell us, because they'll be going to your website and your email, and what will they be getting from you at that point in time? What are you?
Well, certainly if you go to your email, I'll respond to you and we can converse in whatever way. If you go to the website, there is a free gift there. It's the Energy Style Quiz, and it's an older version of what I recently came out with. So if you want the newer version of the Energy Style Quiz, and it tells you about your energy and how it gets expressed in a particular style, not fashion, but
Yes,
in how you express yourself.
right.
And that can be found at mbroadstone.com/5, the number 5,
Oh,
dash
I will.
energy dash style.
Okay, I will put that in the comments here so that people can get to that. May I say thank you? It was a pleasure. I mean, you brought the juice, so to speak. You gave us lots of good nuggets and lots of good things to think about because it is our time. It's time for women, and femininity is everything. And we have to get to the true essence of what it is. So thank you for coming and sharing time and space with us. I know that you have guests and you did this for me because you really wanted to spend the time. So I am grateful, and I never forget a kindness and a favor. So know that.
Well, Joy, just know that it's a true pleasure to have a conversation like this and to reach other people. It's dear to my heart, and it just felt so wonderful talking to you about this subject and sharing it with your audience.
The feeling is mutual, Melinda. The feeling is mutual. Thank you so much. I'm going to put you in the green room. I'm going to say goodbye to the audience, and I'll be with you in just a split second. Or if you have to leave, I'll talk to you later. But thank you, thank you, thank you. So long for now. Cheers. Oh, I tell you, she did me a big favor because she has a very important guest and she wanted to spend the quality time. And yet I took her away for this 30 minutes, a little bit over. But thank you for being here. It's always good when you're here because we always attempt in every way possible to share with you little tips and tools and nuggets that will help you on your journey because we're all on a journey. And our femininity, sexuality, and sensuality for women today more than ever, so powerful when you're really in sync with what it really is. And that's what we're going to be talking about more and more and more as we move forward. So wherever you are, whatever you're about, take good care, stay well and safe, wear that mask, And be with us again next Tuesday and Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. You're always welcome here, and I always love it when you show up. And remember, you always have an open invitation to join me here. So until we connect, and we will again, and soon, be and stay well. All the best. So long for now. Cheers. Yes. Bye.
Joy, thank you so much.
Thank you. Let me
You
see.
are awesome at this.
Well, okay. Leading ladies, leaving legacies, not ever goodbye. Why? Because it's our time. Join us as we move onward and upward in style. Connect with me on my website. I can't wait to meet you. Make it soon. Cheers.